table. We rise, we shine. Ooh, jump in with courage. Don't claim what's mine. It's your time. At the healing table, we grow, we grew. Oh.
Welcome to the healing table, where mind, body, and soul meet. And then, Chris, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Chris Stephanie. I'm from Orlando currently, but I'm also from a tri-state. I'm a life coach and an entrepreneur and here to open your mind.
Whoop, whoop. How about you, Dr. Mega?
Hi, I'm Dr. Megha. I'm from India, and I am a homeopathic doctor and a hypnotherapist, and also I'm an entrepreneur.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing. My name is Yulissa Michelle, and I am a mental health professional. I have a master's degree in psychology, and tonight we're bringing women from around the world to one table to focus on healing, truth, and transformation. So this is the healing table. We begin the journey discussing burnout to breakthrough. Dr. Mega, would you like to explain what burnout is?
So, burnout is a state of physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion due to prolonged or chronic stress. And it can stem from chronic child issues, child abuse, or any constant stress on workplace.
Very good. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that burnout is not a medical condition. It's actually a psychological one.
Absolutely. It's a psychological condition and it is generally influenced by external stimuli. It's not a medical condition.
Nice.
Yes. And
That's pretty cool.
yeah, definitely. And there is a minor difference between depression and burnout symptoms, but there is a difference. But people
Yes.
often confused with burnout and depression.
Yes, definitely. That is very true.
Yeah.
The World Health Organization classifies burnout as an occupational phenomenon, not a medical condition,
Yes.
yet it has deep implications to psychological effects.
Absolutely. Yes.
I think most burnout starts with misalignment long before it shows from like exhaustion or getting physical symptoms. It's when you're doing things like out of obligation, say, for an example, what Dr. Meg was saying, external forces, something that doesn't truly align with your energized self, maybe pushing against your truths, or maybe saying yes to too many people, somewhere where it like drains you instead of giving you the energy that aligns with your like body and your soul.
That's very good. What do you guys think some of the early emotional or cognitive signs are that someone is on the path to burnout, even before physical symptoms start to appear?
I think chronic fatigue, that is something, it's there in burnout symptom. That's one of the symptom which appears in most of the patient. Then there is a sleeplessness. That is one of the symptom which comes. And there's lack of motivation, and not doing it. It's a kind of, emptiness, a feeling of emptiness inside you. So these are, in most of the patient, we see this kind of symptoms.
Yeah.
I would even say irritability, being agitated, or maybe even like scatterbrain, not being able to focus. I think those are probably ongoing, like pre-symptoms of burnout. At least for me, because I know when I'm burned out, I get cranky. Someone hand me
Yeah.
a Snickers.
Yeah.
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 And I think because the symptoms do vary so wide, that's why misdiagnoses tend to happen.
Yes.
So why do high achievers often struggle to recognize burnout in themselves?
That's a great question.
I think it's the pressure from the external influence. They have to always perform. That kind of pressure, that is something which really bothers them. I think that is one of the most important thing, that you have to constantly deal with that kind of pressure to perform so well every time, every minute. You just can't fall down. So I think that's a big pressure.
This kind of reminds me of Alzheimer's patients, like people who are highly educated. It's harder for them to get diagnosed with Alzheimer's because they work so hard with their mind. But once they do get diagnosed, typically they accelerate, right? Like, so they have symptoms that go faster than maybe someone who isn't so educated. So I think when it comes to burnout, the reason why it's harder for them, to overachievers, to be diagnosed or recognize themselves they have burnout, is because they're so used to functioning at full capacity, like you said, Dr. Mega,
Yes.
that they don't recognize that they're tired, right? Because it's like, I just have to push through. They're so used to just doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
That's really, really good. So this question is for you, Dr. Mega. How does chronic stress and emotional exhaustion show up in the body from your perspective?
I think from my perspective, especially the homeopathic point of view, I would say, at physical level, the symptoms start at a very later stage. It actually begins at your emotional level only. So when you find, yeah, exactly. So when you find it on the emotional level, when you find it on a physical level, it is much later than when you find it in the emotional level. So, yeah. So physical, these are all psychosomatic disorder, basically.
Can you explain somatic to the audience, because they might not know what that word means?
Yeah. Psychosomatic it's actually on the physical level. If any symptoms appear, it is actually the result of the emotional disturbances which has happened. So those are psychosomatic disorders.
Can you give an example?
Sorry, is it not real?
It's absolutely real. So what really happens is, the first sign, what really happens due to chronic stress is inflammation in the cells. So chronic stress leads to inflammation, and inflammation will lead to any of the physical condition. It could be anything, because the first sign of any pathological condition is inflammation, and that is
Wow.
caused by chronic stress. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That is impressive. I learned something new today.
Yes. That is the first sign.
Better eat your turmeric.
Yes. So are there certain constitutional types or imbalances you see more prone to burnout?
I think people who are more sensitive, they are more, they suffer from more burnout condition. They're not adapt to the pressure.
Ah,
Yes. And people who are a little, who are non-expressive people,
yes.
who keep things inside,
Mm-hmm.
they also
Mm-hmm.
suffer from burnout symptoms more easily.
Okay, so like introverts
Yes, most of
are
them.
more susceptible.
Yes, more
Cool.
susceptible. Yes.
Nice. Thank you, Dr. Mega. This question is for our coach, our life coach. How much of burnout do you believe comes from misalignment, doing things that no longer feel authentic versus overworking?
I would almost say 100% of it, to be quite honest with you. Because when it doesn't feel authentic, you feel like you're putting on I would say, let's say temporary mask, right? You're wearing the mask to either please someone. Usually it's someone. It's not really to please yourself, because it tends to be burnout. I mean, I guess you could burn yourself out with having really high expectations for yourself. But I mean, that can go back as down from like your childhood and upbringing.
Mhm.
However, I feel burnout is really when you're overexerting yourself to get a almost like an external approval from most of the time from other people. But sometimes it isn't from other people. Sometimes it's yourself. And it could be from your upbringing. Your parents might have been really hard on you as a kid and had really high standards. And then as you grow older and you become an adult, you kind of carry those expectations on yourself. Not that anyone else is keeping you accountable or holding you accountable besides yourself. And I mean, there is some conditioning to that as well, though. I mean, if that's what your whole life has been, you're probably not going to really feel the burnout until, as time goes on, our cells start to break down, the body starts to break down. And then at some point you're like, geez, what the hell am I doing all this for? So
Right.
I would say the majority of burnout is just misalignment, not giving yourself the time to self-care and self-love. I don't know, have a bubble bath.
Yes.
Take yourself out, have a great and cook yourself a nice dinner. Just taking the time to like slow down and like breathe, right? Take a load off. But a lot of that has to do with self care too, and having the balance between work and play.
Sounds good. And that brings us to the second part of our segment, which is healing and recovery. So, our goal is going to be to discuss particular, practical, holistic ways to restore balance once burnout is present. So, this goes to you, Dr. Mega. How does homeopath support someone recovering from burnout physically and emotionally?
I think, as the principle of homeopathy suggests, that it heals within out. Yes. So when we start taking the history of a patient, we are actually individualizing them. And all the medicines which act are, they first work on their emotional level and then they come to their physical level. So all the medicines actually, when we talk of constitutional medicine, especially in homeopathy, we talk of constitutional medicine. It is a medicine which we select according to their symptoms, mental, emotional, and physical symptom. We match them with the right medicine, and that is how their cure takes place.
Got you.
Yeah.
So, are there particular remedies or approaches that you find most helpful?
No. There are few particular medicines like Ignatia, Pulsatilla, Sepia. Depending on the extrovert and introvert type personalities, we start giving them medicines, and slowly and steadily they start healing from within, and they're perfect.
And are they healing the nervous system?
Oh yes, absolutely. It works on their nervous system. Yes, definitely. Yes. And also, I would put a light on one of the, what I say, hypnotherapy sessions, because that is also very important for burnout conditions. Because there are a lot of inner child issues. Sometimes there are a lot of inner core issues that can be dealt in hypnotherapy very well. So I would say it's a combination of homeopathy and hypnotherapy, which would really work very well for all the burnout conditions.
Nice.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
So, from a psychological perspective, self compassion and nervous system regulation play a significant role in burnout.
Yes.
My personal belief is that if we learn how to regulate our nervous system, that we can decrease that inflammation that comes from reframing our thoughts. Like our coach Chris just said earlier, some things are conditioned, right? Our environment plays a significant role in the person that we become. So if we can catch some of those bad habits early on, then we can decrease our nervous system kind of those anxious moments of trying to be perfect or overthinking or overanalyzing situations. And so now I'm going to talk a little bit about mind body connection and how it influences healing during burnout. The best way to be able to do that, especially for someone that has a long history of childhood trauma, would be to work with a professional. To be able to sit down and talk with someone, you have that collaboration partner there that you can bounce things off of. Insurance in America is great to where you can go and sit down and talk with a professional, but we also have professionals that you can talk to that you can pay for out of pocket, just like Coach Chris and Dr. Mega. And so those are great settings, great professional settings to be able to reflect on what it is you're feeling, what it is that you want to change, and get a good professional collaboration session to be able to make that difference in yourself. This is for Coach Chris. From a coaching standpoint, how do you help clients move from survival mode into a more balanced rhythm?
Well, I usually start by helping clients like slow down enough so they actually get to hear themselves again. Because most people are in burnout are completely disconnected from their inner voice and they're pretty much running on autopilot. It's just like the daily, rise and grind. So I guess my first strategy would be of like being aware and doing like an energy inventory, looking at what drains versus what actually restores the client or the individual. Because you can't change what you don't see most of the time. So if you don't know that what something's wrong, how are you going to fix it, right? But once that's clear, I tend to focus on boundaries and allowing them to give themselves permission to relax. to hear themselves, to breathe. A lot of burnout comes from people who say yes out of guilt most of the time, fear, or even disappointing others, family members, friends, bosses. So I tend to work on creating boundaries that help them feel empowered instead of like they're being judged or have to, you know, uh, reach a certain level of external acceptance or validation. That's typically where I would begin. I also guide clients to rebuild rituals or meditation, I think is super important. Breath work is great too. Simply just nourishing habits that signal the body that it's safe and that it can relax. Even walking outdoors or journaling or just starting the day with a nice intention can really set the tone for that person's nervous system to really like reset.
That's really, really good. Thank you so much for sharing. And I agree with, all of those modalities that you spoke of. The difference, I think, between coaching and psychology, a psychiatrist or a counselor, is that the counselor will listen to you. The psychologist's job is to give you medication to assist you. But with Coach Chris, the modalities that she gave you are like hands on what you should use. Like meditating, journaling, just stopping and taking those self-care moments to be able to check in and do a body tune up to just see like, how am I feeling? What do I need? That is huge. So thank you for sharing. This is a question for the entire group. It says that many people feel guilty when they slow down or rest, which especially for women. Why do you think rest has become associated with weakness in our culture? And how can we reframe that thought?
It's actually lack of self-love in women. This is what I feel. They are so overburdened, and they have all this guilt, and they want to be perfect at every side, and they're expected to be perfect. That is the biggest problem. That I mean, it's fine to sometimes slow down. It's fine to take some rest. It's fine to do everything. But what we do is, oh, we're just so much external validation we want that we forget ourselves in this whole process and hence suffer from this burnout condition. So I really feel it's fine to take rest, it's fine to slow down, it's fine if you're not able to do things properly. Just have fun, relax, and enjoy. That will help you to reduce inflammation in your body, to really start thinking of you and start thinking as a positive person. That these are the things which will help you to elevate your mood, and you will be fine for future. So this is what I would recommend to all the women listening.
That's very good. I love that. I love that. What about you, Coach Chris?
Well, I think also with the way current times are lately, the women has to wear so many different hats these days. We forget that we're allowed to be women.
Right. Right.
No, we
Right.
want to be the boss. We want to be the caretaker. We want to be the provider. We also have to cook. We have to clean. We have to, take care of the children. We have to do laundry. We have to, run a meeting. We have to go jogging. I mean, we do all of it. And I think the society, I mean, of course, girl power all day long. But I think there's a balance that society has kind of pushed women into having to be the brawn when most of the time I feel like we want to just relax. We want to be professed for, protected for, and provided for most times. And I think that in itself is hard on women, and having to look a certain way. And again, it all comes back to self, like that, external validation or external approval from, your peers. So I think it's just really getting in touch with yourself and the tune of your own music to really kind of just sit back, take that inventory to see what really aligns with what you want and what you want your life to be like. You have to ask yourself at some point, do you really want to live the rest of your life running after and chasing after and being burnt out obviously the answer is going to be no, because most of the time that burnout is going to make you physically sick.
Right.
And then you're not going to be able to do anything. So take the time, take a breath, and start the set and setting is what the visions and thoughts that you hold in your mind. And if your mind can't be at peace, then the rest of your life isn't going to be peaceful. So it's just giving yourself that grace to breathe is what I would suggest for all the women out there.
That's good. That's really good. I think rest has become a negative terminology or thing to do because expectation. I feel like the American dream or what people deem as successful is what we see in the movies, right? We're comparing ourselves to celebrities on Bollywood or celebrities in Hollywood, and that level of living is just not sustainable for the everyday average person, right? And in order to even begin to be a 10 percentile, right? You have to have multiple streams of revenue, which mean that you, one person, in those multiple streams, you're going to have to deprive yourself of rest or sleep or just self-care because you're pouring into a wishing well of fortune, right? Of whether it be generational wealth that you're hoping to build for your children or your parents, right? So me personally, I think that expectations play a significant role in the negative indentation that rest has. And I think the best way to reframe or restructure that thought is to just be humble and be thankful and grateful in the moments that we're in. Like right now, you have life and there's people around you who love you, and there's nothing more powerful and beautiful than that. And when we start to just sit in those moments, I think that we can rest and we can feel safe in our environment and we can feel at ease in our nervous system won't be so anxious. It won't work so hard to protect us because we have everything that we need. So, moving on to the third part of our segment, this is moving towards breakthrough. So, the goal is to inspire our listeners with insight and tools for long-term balance and fulfillment. This is going to come to you, Chris. Once someone starts to feel more balanced, how can they ensure they don't fall back into those burnout patterns?
It's really just habit, getting yourself into a routine, and having someone to even hold you accountable sometimes because it's easy to fall back into those patterns, especially if it's kind of built into your personality. But I would say definitely routine. Make sure if you are going to start doing meditations, I'll make sure you do it every day at the same time. And again, always trying to be self aware, consistent, and not just consistent with yourself, but also consistent with the boundaries that you're setting. And I tend to write myself these little messages when, say, I'm either going through a rough patch emotionally, even financially. I'll take a dry eraser or a dry erase marker, and I'll write myself little messages on my mirrors just to kind of obviously I look in the mirror every day, right? So when you get up, you go to work, you get ready, and it's just a little reminder things. That's my little reminder. Yeah, you look in the mirror and there's that little saying, or I'll write a quote just to kind of remind myself. And I also remind my clients and myself to always check in weekly. Am I living in alignment or am I leaking energy again? It's just being self aware and kind of just keeping it, consistent in that routine. And practice makes perfect. So, and if it does, start to come back, don't beat yourself up about it. Catch it, take a step back, assess, and then make the best step forward.
That's good. I love that. That sounds like something that I would tell my patients too, because that is a mindset shift, right? And with that, you're able to sustain long term emotional resilience by being intentional. You're setting those SMART goals, which is helping you to be accountable. And then you're putting them into action every single day with words of affirmation. So thank you so much for sharing. This one is for you, Dr. Mega. What roles does lifestyle or energetic awareness play in maintaining balance after healing burnout?
I think lifestyle plays the most important role, because for balance it for future, lifestyle is the only key. And lifestyle that includes, eating well, being disciplined, and really practicing, right things, what you have actually learned from your previous things. That is very important. As Chris said, that we need to practice it every day. So we need to change it, not only on conscious level but at a subconscious level, and that will, help us to change actually from within. So I think good food, good nutrition, food which reduces inflammation, that will help you in longer run. No mood swings, very disciplined life, and enjoy to the core, rest proper. I think that's what makes you the best.
I love that. I love that. So we have one more group discussion, and then we're going to bring our podcast to a close. So the question is, if each of you could give one powerful takeaway, one thing listeners can do today to start reclaiming balance, what would it be?
I think they first need to really register it, sit down, take a break, understand it, and keep moving. That is really
Yes.
important.
Very good.
Yes.
What about you, Coach Chris?
I would probably be balance isn't something you find, it's something you choose over and over again, right? And you kind of get that balance and you become consistent with it. You reclaim it every time. You honor your energy instead of abandoning yourself or for someone else's expectations, especially. So start small. Pause before you say breathe before you react, and rest before you break, because we all just need a little grace. The moment you choose alignment over approval, you'll begin to reclaim your power. And that's where balance truly lives.
I love that. I love that. Breakthrough truly looks like peace, right? It looks like purpose. It looks like something deeper, and that's finding your passion. For me, I think that reclaiming your balance is finding and choosing, like Chris said, to be happy. Every day is a choice. Every second of emotion is a choice. You can choose to be irritated. You can choose to be upset. But most of all, you can choose to be happy, and you can choose to love. And that, my friends, is very contagious. And that's what breakthrough looks like after burnout. So, if burnout is the body and soul's way of asking us to evolve, what do you believe it's asking humanity to learn right now?
Grace. Grace. Have some grace, everyone.
I love that. And I think I will take that as my answer too. So thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you every Sunday at 9 p.m. to discuss topics that matter to you. Next week, we discuss the power of gratitude. And thank you so much, guys. We've learned
Have a good night.
grace.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Or good morning.
At the healing table, we rise, we shine.